What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? Here I am in Birmingham, Alabama. This is a city I've been to many times. I'm standing outside the 16th Street Baptist Church, and I filmed lots of videos in Alabama. I love this state, and Birmingham's a great little city. And this video I filmed here before, about a year ago, and I went inside the church, took you all around, but that video has never been put up. And the reason for that was, well, and then you'll see throughout this video where else I went to, but a reason I film a lot of videos, and then when I get back home is when I start editing them and putting them up, and sometimes I'm just not happy with what I filmed, or how I filmed it, I should say, because the subjects are always something I want to film. It's just maybe I'm not happy with it. And I looked at the footage, and it was a little shaky at times, and didn't capture the right angles I wanted of the church to show this magnificent building. I felt a little rushed when I was filming it because I had about 3 videos I was filming that day. So I just watched the footage. I said, you know what? I'm going to go back and get the footage I want. Now, as I tell you more about the story, we're going to go to 4 other locations, I believe, 3 to 4, and those were ones that's going to be footage that I filmed already because I was happy with that footage, and it's sad footage. So if you look right here, just beside the steps up, they do tours here, and I did one last year. It's not open today. I'm filming on a Monday. But you can take a tour of this beautiful and important building. It gets hot in Birmingham in the summer. It is hot today. I love the heat. This is hot. September 15th, 1963, a bomb exploded just before morning services in this church, killing 4 young girls, injuring another. And Birmingham, around that time, was also known as Bombingham because so many homemade bombs were made going off in or near churches, black residences. This is a city of civil unrest and the civil rights movement. This church plays such an important role, and that incident does as well. And there's a little statue I'm going to show you right over here of the 4 little girls that passed away. And at the end of this part of the video, we're going to be visiting the graves of all 4 victims. You can see, even in summer, there's a lot of tourists that come out here. It doesn't look like there are right now. There were a few moments ago, but kids being taught with their families or possibly with a teacher over there. And last time I was here, it was exactly the same. Birmingham was founded in 1871, and it was soon the state's most important industrial and commercial center. But as late as the 1960s, it was one of America's most racially discriminatory and segregated cities. Their governor, George Wallace, was really against desegregation. Birmingham had one of the strongest chapters of the Ku Klux Klan, KKK. The police commissioner, Eugene Bull Connor, he used brutality in combating racial demonstrators, union members, and just any black citizens. There's 4 girls right there staring at the church to represent the 4 girls. There's a very important connection, more than just a connection to Martin Luther King. He'd been arrested here in Birmingham while leading supporters of the SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, in a nonviolent campaign of demonstrations against segregation. And while he was in jail, he wrote a letter to local white ministers justifying his decision not to call off the demonstrations, even though there was continued bloodshed at the hands of local law enforcement. So of course, his famous letter from a Birmingham jail was published in the national press, was written here in Birmingham. And they printed it, I should say. It's the 2000s creeping in there. Oh, speaking of the 2000s, before I forget, I just want to say that 4 people were suspects in the bombing here. 4 people. 2 of them were not arrested till 2001 and 2002. The incident took place in 1963. The FBI had information around 1965 about who the people were. It took that long. One of them died in like 94 before he was able to be brought to justice. Another one was arrested and convicted, I believe, in 1977. And up until the end in 85, when he died in prison, he was proclaiming his innocence. But yeah, Martin Luther King, there was shocking images of police brutality against protesters of Birmingham, along with that letter from a Birmingham jail, and it built widespread support for the civil rights cause. So a lot of the civil rights protests, they began their marches right here at these steps in the 1960s. So it was a significant religious center for the city's black population, and it was the meeting place for civil rights organizers like Dr. Martin Luther King. KKK members had routinely called in bomb threats intended to disrupt civil rights meetings as well as services at the church. I'll read you what this plaque says. It's probably going to jump ahead to what I was going to say. This property possesses national significance in commemorating the history of the United States. In 1963, it was the staging ground for the Birmingham campaign civil rights youth marches and the place where a bomb killed 4 young girls, martyred heroines of a holy crusade for freedom and human dignity. At 10:22 a.m., September 15th, 1963, 200 church members filed through these doors. They were in the building. Many of them were attending Sunday school classes before the start of the 11 a.m. service. The bomb detonated on the church's east side, spraying mortar and bricks from the front of the church and caving in its interior walls. The building started to fill with smoke. Most people were able to evacuate the building, but the bodies of 4 young girls were found beneath the rubble in a basement restroom. I'm going to show you where that restroom is. There was a 5th little girl, 10-year-old Sarah Collins, she was also in the restroom at the time of the explosion. She lost her right eye. More than 20 other people were injured in the blast. It was the 3rd bombing in 11 days. 3rd. And it was after a federal court order had come down mandating the integration of Alabama's school system. Now, if we walk right around here, I have footage of this from before, and I'm going to show you. This is the east side of the building. This is where the restroom is, right there. I've been inside. I'm going to put in some older footage. Addie Mae Collins, Denise McNair, Carol Robertson, Cynthia Wesley. Ye thought evil against me, but God meant it into good, to bring to pass as it is this day, to save much people alive. As I said, I'm going to try to insert some footage from before because the church is closed today. When you can take tours of the church, I believe the restroom was either it's there, but it's I saw the door and I think he said it's been rebuilt inside, but it's off limits. Respectfully. In the aftermath of the bombing, there were thousands of black protesters that gathered at the scene of the bombing here, and that governor, George Wallace, sent police and state troopers to break the protests up. Violence broke out across the entire city. A number of protesters were arrested, and 2 young black men were killed, one by police, before the National Guard was called in to restore order. Dr. King later spoke before 8,000 people at the funeral for 3 of the girls. One of the girls had a smaller private funeral. And that was fueled the public outrage that was now mounting across the country. Now, right across the street is this monument, statue, bench for the 4 girls and 2 young men that were murdered at the time. Cynthia, Denise, Addie, Carol, Sarah Collins, the one who lost her eye, and then 2 young boys. I believe Johnny was 16. He was shot in his back by a police officer, Johnny there on the right. And Virgil, I believe, was shot by 2 other boys. And he was riding a bike. He was on the back of a bike that his brother was operating, and he was shot in the back. And I know that, I think it was 2 young men, I'm pretty sure it was 2 young men that were convicted by an all-white jury of second-degree manslaughter, serving 7 months. Not years, months. It's all during a very, very chaotic few days and weeks right after. I'm visiting this video the graves of 4 young girls, the 4 girls in the church, and I'd like to one day be able to come back and visit Virgil and Johnny, find their graves. I think that's something that's going to be on my list. It's a beautiful park right across the street. As I mentioned before, the FBI had information concerning the identity of the bombers by 1965 and did nothing. J. Edgar Hoover, who was then head of the FBI, disapproved of the civil rights movement. He died in 1972. But in 1977, the investigation was reopened, and Klan leader, his name is Robert E. Chambliss, was brought to trial for the bombings and convicted of murder. He maintained his innocence, but he died in prison in 1985. And the case was reopened again in 1980, 1988, and 1997. Thomas Blanton and Bobby Frank Cherry were finally brought to trial. Blanton was convicted in 2001, and Frank Cherry in 2002. The 4th suspect, Herman Cash, he died in 1994 before he could be brought to trial, like I said earlier. We think of 1963 as so long ago, and we think of just the history and the civil rights movement of the 60s. It seems so long ago, not just if whatever age, if you're a certain age, seems, 1960 seems so far. It just does, with technology, with everything, with the way the world looks, but it just shows how close we really are to those times. 2001 and 2002, it took almost 40 years. Almost 40 years for the last 2 to be convicted. But they knew for 35, 36 years, 37 years. So, even though it was slow to get justice, the effect of the bombing on the 16th Street Baptist Church was immediate and significant, because outrage over the death of the 4 girls helped build increased support behind the continuing struggle to end segregation. Support that would help lead to the passage of both the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So it's kind of funny that the bombing's impact, well, ironic, but a bit of a burn, I would say. The bombing's impact was exactly the opposite of what its perpetrators had intended. Those 4 evil men. There you go. There's a tour guide taking people around right now, and I walked all around this park. And it's beautiful. 4 fountains here. I'm thinking that they're to honor the 4 young girls. Reconciliation, revolution, reconciliation, revolution on the ground here. This trail around the park, the church is right there, if you can see right through there. It's called Freedom Walk. I just walked through here, the attack dogs statue. It's just terrifying. Birmingham police dogs. And it's a mixture, it looks like a family. What's up, buddy? They're listening to the tour guide. And there's kids who's younger, maybe, I can't tell you, maybe under 10, but lots of teenagers there in that group. And I just thought to myself quickly, I hope they're listening. Not to me, to the tour guide, because I'm sure he's explaining in great detail what occurred here, what is significant about this place, and what is still going on today. Okay. It looks like they are, though. They're listening. If you can, I urge you to come to Birmingham to visit and to do the tour of the church. It's unreal to be inside there. And I mean, the money goes to a good cause. It's not like you're going to, I don't know, out to fancy dinner. Where's that money going to? To the rich owners. I don't know. I just gonna get. I know I'm about to. I feel a rant coming on. There's touristy things and fun things to do, yes, but why not every now and again? If you're gonna go somewhere like this, with the history and the importance and the significance and the money that you pay for your admittance, it means something. So something that's not on the tour, but they graciously took me and showed me. I just came out of this door. Like I said, this is the basement here, and you're not allowed to film down there and take video. And I actually started to of the wall, and then the woman politely said, "Oh no, sorry, Novid, I didn't realize." That's what the picture of the 4 girls. Now, of course, this is where the dynamite went off, and there, as Freddie was saying, there was an outdoor staircase going down here, going into the basement. The bathroom where the girls were is still here, and I just went inside of it, and it was very, very surreal. And of course, I couldn't take photos or video, but what I can tell you is, right on the other side of the door, there's a stairwell going down now on the inside, and the bathroom is right there on the other side, and it's a men's bathroom now, and they moved the women's bathroom down. So it's still there, and it was heavy to see that, to know that room still exists. Well, I guess I'll find out when I start editing this video how happy I am with this footage, but I think this is what's going to be going up on my channel. There's the church, and now we're going to visit the graves of the 4 young victims spread out across the city. It wasn't easy to get to all of them. I did it, and I hope you like it. And let's go now. Reads, this cemetery is the final resting place of 3 of the 4 young girls killed in the September 15th, 1963 church bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church. Addie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, and Carol Robertson are buried here. The 4th victim, Denise McNair, is buried elsewhere. The tragic loss of these lives led to the end of the era of massive resistance to social change in Birmingham and the release of the city from the fear which long paralyzed progress in human relations. Usually I bring rocks to leave at the gravesite as a Jewish tradition and as a sign of remembrance that I've been there. When it's little kids, it's a little different. I brought something. I'm going to try to put it here on the ground, and for all 4 girls and from the viewers of my channel. They're just furry little animals. Addie Mae and Cynthia are buried right beside each other. And I had to leave the tags on for like the tags on the little stuffed animals because I had to have something to wrap it. The pipe cleaner, we call them, like the I forget what they're called down here, but we call them pipe cleaners. Fuzzy with the metal inside, stick into the ground. Yeah, they're right beside each other. As you can see right here, here's Addie Mae, and there's the Wesley family right there. Carol should be right up this hill. I'm hoping. I'm trying to navigate through the graves, old cemetery. And I think I'm headed the right direction. Pretty sure I am. I think it's right around here. I'm hoping. Yes, I believe this would be Carol here. This is the Robertson family plot. And here's Carol here. Carol Rosamond Robertson. And then this is here. In loving memory of the 4 little girls, Addie Mae Collins, Denise McNair, Cynthia Wesley, Carol Robertson, from Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. And there's Carol there. Wow. And now we're going to make our way a little bit across town to Denise final resting place, Elmwood Cemetery. I hope the little stuffed animals I brought were able to stick in the ground and stay. But it's an old cemetery, so I don't know how often they come along and clean up. There's flowers there, a few graves and stuff, and yeah, it's a beautiful day. Okay, here we go. And finally, all the way across town, here we are at Denise's final resting place. Carol Denise McNair. She was the youngest. She was 11. Wow. November 17th, 1951. September 15th, 1963. She loved all, but a mad bomber hated her kind. Wow. And over here it has Chris McNair family. I'm not sure of the connection. Chris McNair family. I would assume is a relation. And that's my video about the 16th Street Church bombings. Rest in peace, Denise, Carol, Cynthia, Addie Mae, the 4 little girls. And the little stuffed animals I put, that's from all of us. And everyone who watches this video, and everyone who subscribes to my channel and watches my stuff I put out. This is important for me to do. Glad I did it. Alright. And to the lovely people at the church who showed me around and helped me out. Thank you so much. That was a true honor to be in there. Rest in peace to the 4 little girls. And to all of you, peace and love. Peace out.